We have some breaking news. A verdict in the case against Ghislaine Maxwell, the so-called lady of the house, accused of helping Jeffrey Epstein, the pedophile. Well, the jury agrees with what I just said. Guilty, 5 of 6 counts of luring those teenage girls into this sick, sick world of Jeffrey Epstein. There she is. The jury saw all these pictures, by the way. So try to separate yourself from Jeffrey Epstein. Kind of tough when you've got photographs like this that the jury's looking at and all the evidence, including the testimony of the accusers who are now officially victims in the case. This is 5 full days of jury deliberations, and it was back and forth. People didn't know how long the jury was going to be there. One thing that did happen, though, the judge instructed the jury that they would work through the New Year's holiday, okay? They were told that today when they were inquiring. They were told you'll work through the New Year's holiday, then presto, a verdict. All right, let's bring in our think tank, get some reaction tonight. Got to begin with our former federal prosecutor, Nima Rahmani. He's with us, as well as Eklund Mercy and Kirk Nurmi. Nima, let me start first with the judge, with what the judge did here, because a lot of people are like, these deliberations are going on forever. They're asking for readbacks of 5 more witnesses today. It doesn't look like it's going to be very quick, very easy for this jury. We're up against COVID. The judge is feeling the pressure, trying to get it done, and then informs the jury that they're going to work through the holiday, and then miraculously they all agree.
Vinny, we got to give an assist to District Judge Allison Nathan on this one. We were concerned as the government, former federal prosecutors, when the jury was deliberating through Christmas. Not good. We're concerned about a hung jury. But yesterday, Judge Nathan said, we're going to do an hour of deliberation. And guess what? We're going to deliberate Thursday and Friday. New Year's Eve, the day before, we're going to get this done because I don't want to retry this case. So jurors are people, they want to get back home to their families, and it has to have put some implicit pressure on those 1 or 2 holdout jurors to get a verdict done. So assist to Judge Nathan. Thank you.
Absolutely. Kirk, you know what's really shocked me, and maybe it's because we're in the post-COVID world and there's pressure to get cases done, but we've had so many of these super high-profile cases butting up against holidays. I remember when I practiced, I know it was years ago, Kirk, but it was usually pretty slow this time of year, that no judge would want to bring jurors in after Thanksgiving. They don't want to bring them in up against Christmas or between Christmas and New Year's. But we're seeing it all over the place now. Why is that? Do you think it's because of the pressure that there's a backlog of cases coast to coast now?
Yeah, I think that's exactly right, Vinny, because like you, when I practiced years ago, there was kind of slow, maybe small little cases between the holidays, between Thanksgiving and Christmas. But now we've got such a backlog of cases, right? So many cases were put on hold. We see in these cases keep getting continued and continued because of COVID concerns, outbreaks in the jail. Now we have a judge here who is concerned about a COVID outbreak within the jury panel itself, right, given it's in New York and the high rates we're seeing there now. So, yeah, we're seeing this pressure to move along cases because every case that builds up, that just backlogs the system more and more. So until this backlog clears, there's going to be no rest for the wicked, Vinny.
Eklund, this is another example. I think we are just in a new day when it comes to being a defendant in a case like this, where you've got accusers. Years ago, you would think a case like this, it was kind of old, some of the charges. Ghislaine could clearly point the finger at Epstein and say, well, I'm a victim too. No longer. Yeah. So all these powerful defendants who are being charged criminally with these sex offenses, they're going down one at a time.
Yeah, but I really think that there was a missed opportunity in this case. I believe that, Epstein's suicide kind of took the chance away. But I felt that, you had an end with Maxwell in the sense that we were able to figure out like how many young girls or how many young boys were actually lost to her system. I think that, although we did get a conviction rate, I believe that we could have gotten more information on more information on just the massiveness. From 1994 to 2004, there was a sex trafficking ring, and we could have found more information on the victims and just closure for the victims' families. Although we do have a conviction, I think that we could have just got more from this case.
Naima, Eklund makes a great point, and the magical word, right? Sex trafficking ring. Now, we know the conversations online that exist, and we know what people were hoping for from this trial, that there would be some revealing of some name somewhere, but for some reason, none of that is happening. It's just Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell? I mean, that doesn't seem right, Naima. Do you think federal prosecutors stop here? And if they do, will there be questions about why they're stopping here and there's not more of a pursuit of what was happening with this rich and powerful people? Was it just this couple? Come on. Do you believe that? Does anyone believe that?
No, Vinny, I don't believe that. And there's still a chance for Maxwell to cooperate post-conviction. And we know the names that have, former presidents, a member of the royal family, actors here in Hollywood. I mean, everyone knows the names. So Maxwell still has an opportunity to cooperate, to provide some information. But if I'm the government, I'm hesitant to give any type of deal or break because of what Alex Acosta did when he was U.S. attorney in Miami, and he gave Jeffrey Epstein a ridiculous 13-month state disposition where he was essentially out most of the time. So that was a miscarriage of justice. And, obviously he killed himself, or if you believe that he was killed, there's some conspiracy theories out there, but he never received the criminal justice that he deserved. So hopefully Ghislaine Maxwell does the right thing, starts naming names, and those individuals who traveled to Epstein Island and abused these young women, they're also brought to justice.
Kirk, do you think it happens? That's what everyone has been waiting for. They thought this trial would be the vehicle, perhaps, where some of it came out, perhaps from the prosecution's evidence. But many people think that there's so many powerful people involved that perhaps even the government, the prosecution in this case, is suppressing names purposely and not revealing information and evidence. Where does it go from this point?
Well, I think that depends on Miss Maxwell's mindset because, as a criminal defendant, they always have hope. Now that she's a convicted, sex trafficker who's destined to spend the rest of her life behind bars, it may not be altruistic reasons like Naima suggested. It may be simple vengeance. She may say, I'm not going to be the only one going down for this. If I have to spend the rest of my life here, other people are going down. And she may decide to talk and name names for that reason, whether that benefits her sentence or not. So there's still that possibility that there might be this break in this case that everybody's looking for. And she could be the one to do it because should she decide to talk, suppression by the prosecutors, et cetera, wouldn't be an option because then those names would be out there into the world. Like Naima said, we've already heard some of them, but she could provide more evidence and possibly start doing some of the things that people are hoping that this trial would do. But I really believe the ball's in her court in that regard, Vinny.
All right, and we'll keep an eye on it because it very well could be the only ticket that she has to play at this point. I know criminal defendants, they always hold out hope for that, we're going to win on appeal, and maybe she holds out that hope that because to give up the names, you've basically got to admit that this all was going on and you knew about it and you were taking part in it. If you don't make that admission, then, so we'll see, we shall see. But again, the breaking news, Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's confidant, lady of the house, ex-girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, has now been convicted. So she's basically a fellow sex offender. Maybe that's the best way to describe her at this point, and we'll keep an eye out for that sentencing.